Welcome to the session. Now we are going to see about the cloud through SOA, service oriented approach. So here we will try to see how the general definition of the SOA will be there. So here the enterprise wide transformation, significant challenges for the process, people and technology. So here now we are going to see the challenges and defining metadata approaches which is being delivering to the smooth transformation challenges including resistant to change the people by the organization. So here the factors which includes the roles and responsibility which is being done by the management, and we will check the management skill development and the discipline and cultural shifts. So here we will try to see what are all the important aspects which is being there in the SOA. So it is one of the most similarities between the cloud and the SOA approaches, where you need to deploy the integrated service level management approaches for both the application services and the infrastructure services together, which will drive the IT operation by improving the resource utilization and for improving the service level. So here such a integrated service management can move the IT towards to an end-to-end service oriented environment to get the access of the resources to the all the end users. So this will enable the business ability to for the betterment of the IT to betterment of the IT growth to the next level. So here the topic will be mainly deals with the enterprise infrastructure, and which is being dealing with the SOA. So now we will see how the SOA which makes the IT application into a composite generic way of approaches. So instead of making the general traditional monolithic application, the common applications which will be created and composed of many services will be deployed independently by separate development teams and on different schedules. So here by adhering that to common standard approaches and interfaces, the development of new composite applications and extensions of existing application is made easier through the service oriented approaches, which is being combining with all the other resources which are being there, and it can be combined together to form a easier way of approaches to the end user. So by that the enterprises infrastructure and which connects with the SOA will getting into a huge impact for the end user to access all the resources which is being there. So the path of transformation which is being done by the staged approaches, which is being as a initial of a stage by stage process which is being leading to the ultimate goal of service oriented approaches to the user. So multiple combination of the generic resources of infrastructures in today's environment need to be consolidated to gain the control and reduce cost and to become the operational efficient, so that it will give the much more complexity to the user to get the particular resource to be obtained. So for that we need to introduce the visualized path of networking infrastructure to improve the utilization level and allow the dynamic flexibility to move the resources from one end to the other end, and the capacity to meet the fluctuation of the workload demand among the particular user to get the resource to the greater extent. So this service orientation will be giving that particular building capability to the user on the top of the visualized and automated infrastructure for the betterment of the availability of the resources and for the betterment of the resources to be actually used by the particular user. So it's like state infrastructure and utilized path of services rather than the simpler and smaller units. So here you will say just try to see how it's been binded. So it's like how the deliver and leverage cloud services can be rely on the service oriented to a loosely coupled application to underlining the infrastructure model into a web services. So bringing all the user into one forum, it will bring the much more service to be a complex and customizable, and it will be like a distributed application, so that it will have the access to all the end users. So it will be like a dynamic system where you can have the flexibility of using the resources on demand. It can deliver 100 number of virtual servers on a small clusters on physical servers, enabling flexibility and highly availability of the particular resources to the users. So where it have the traditional application lifecycle to a new terminology, it requires a start of a model phase by gathering the business requirements and designing their business process. So once it is been optimized to the business process, then it can be able to implement by combining the new and existing model to give the betterment of the particular application to the end user. Then we need to deploy into a secure and integrated network for integrating people from various resources and to perform a different kind of a process and to perform as a individual information to get into the particular process. So here the generic example of SOC will be like the separation of console will be like the simple fact the problem become easier to the approach where it can be divided into smaller units and it can be handled separately. So by that we can able to easily perform analysis and strategy, and we can able to perform the planning process, and we can implement into a core, and we can able to have a value driven process where it can be applied as it can be applied in the application service, information service and common IT service level, and it can be used in the it can be also used in the infrastructure as a service. So now we will try to see the visualization in a bit more bigger way. So it's like a fundamental components of computing where the infrastructure basic service allow the creations of the service, customizable isolated service execution environment for running application without affecting the end user. So this technology will have the ability of a computer program to enhance a particular resources to build on the top of application, so that it can have the entire application can be run in a run in a platform where the user can access from anywhere from anytime. So for example, if you are running a OS on the top of the virtual machine where itself running on the Linux OS, so it provides a greater opportunity to build a elastical scalable system that can give a additional provision and additional capability with the minimum cost. So we'll see some of the major causes that are been there in the particular visualization technique. You'd have increased the performance and computing capacity. So the main important thing is like we need to check the average end user who is meeting the almost all the need of the everyday computing. So whether we need to check how the performance and computing capacity is being done for the all the user who are been accessing and the day-to-day activity. Almost all the user have to check whether everyone are accessing the data, everyone are accessing the resources. So if there is any a flaw in the particular process, so we need to check all the performance and computing capacity through the entire process, which is highly relatable on the PC market, where the supercomputers are providing the immense computing power that can accommodate the execution of the 100 or 1000 numbers of users at a time. Underutilized hardware and software resources are the second most important cause, where you need to check the increased performance and computing capacity with the uses of resources which are being available at the end user. So here the partially utilized resources that can be that couldn't be done without interruption. So on a daily working basis, the remaining resources has been completely used by the end user, so that the other persons who are waiting for the particular resources to be accessed can be also access that particular resources for their end process. So lack of space. So once the particular spaces are being allocated for the particular user, the data centers will have the other user to access the particular data. So the storage space for all the end user will be mutually given for them, and they can access, they can perform the particular thing with the entire process, so that it can host the 100 number of nodes for the particular thing to be carried out. And many more IT giants are using the particular data center for affording their data to be stored and their to access or to retrieve the particular data. So the storage is the main important thing in the particular cloud computing. So like administration costs. So how we are going to provide that? So when power consumption and cost now are become much and more in the IT requirement. So increased demand of additional capacity, which translates into the more consumption and cost in the market. So we need to balance both the requirement and what we are the resources which you are having in particular. So all the servers doesn't provide by its own, and it doesn't fulfill all the users by their own requirements and needs. So we need to check what are the important administration tasks which have been there, like monitoring, like directing hardware and software application, how you are going to set up the server, how you are going to provide the services, resources, and we need to check the resource monitoring and how you are going to back up all those things. These are the initiation which is being should be done in while you are trying to give the resources to the users. And it is like main advantages like for the visualization will be like the it will give the creations of virtual servers irrespective of the hardware and software environment, storage and networks, and the main components will be like who are all the guest servers, who are all the hosts who are trying to host the particular server, and what are the different virtualization layers are there, The guest mainly represent the system components that interacts with the physical layer rather than with the host, as would normally happen. And the host represent the original environment where the guest is supposed to be managed. And virtualization layer is like responsible for recreating the same or with a different environment where the guest will operate. The security concern will be the main cause of plan will be for the cloud computing. So security mainly deals with the control access of the particular data. So accessing and controlling will play a huge role in the particular thing. So it should be a transparent manner where the data can be secured, and how the accessibility will be given to the other user should be done clearly. So accessing the data and accessibility of the data should be monitored properly, and we should give the authorization technique only the particular person who has been the high level of management, and other set of people have the some other kind of liability of security pattern and accessibility pattern. So these are all the important thing in that. And managed execution will have the sharing the resources, how you are going to emulate the particular resources, and how you are going to isolate the particular resources. So these are all which comes under the manageable execution of the particular process. And sharing is the main most important key aspects in terms of virtualization, where you have the separate computing environment within the same host, where it will give the possible exploitation of the resources to a powerful guest who could be have the most priority pattern. And you have the aggregation is like sharing the physical resources among the several guests, but virtualization allows segregation, which is the opposite process of separate host to the separate environment, which represent the guest to a single virtual host. Performance tuning will mainly deal with the quality of services. QoS is also plays a major role, where you have the quality of services to be done, and we need to check how we can be improved the further process. Network virtualization. So network virtualization like managing and monitoring the computer networks over a single manageable process, and how we are going to control the entire network among the all other users also. So it's like internal and external process. Like single entity process will be there in the internal, external, where you have the more number of networks, it comes under the single virtual unit. Storage virtualization, which deals with the improved storage management in a heterogeneous IT environment, and then it will gives the easy update and better availability of the resources. It will reduce the downtime of the resources is being available in the cloud, and it will give the better storage utilization and automated management. So these are the storage virtualization which is being there.